This morning, Donald Trump back on the campaign trail after his late-night event for veterans. Trump says he raised $6 million, but was he exploiting the troops for political gain? That charge is being leveled. Let's get perspective from someone who understands the election and the veterans issues very well. Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, Democrat representing Hawaii, obviously veteran, 2 tours of duty in the Middle East. Always good to see you, Congresswoman. Thank you for being with us. $6 million, maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Let's leave that part to the side. You know, that's fair. Veterans groups, big name ones, came out early here saying, we don't like this. So we'll put up one of the statements from IAVA, big organization, Iraq, Afghanistan vets group there saying, Paul Rieckhoff saying this: we're not taking the money. We don't want to be used for political stunts. The frustration is, as we were talking about before, where are you on the issues that matter to us? And not just Trump, all of them. Fair pushback from the veterans, or should they just be happy with the money?
No, look, I'm friends with Paul and work very closely with the Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America organization and other veterans organizations who do a lot of very good substantive work. And that's the frustration that we hear from veterans across the country, is with our Democratic and Republican candidates for president. Where are your detailed plans on how you are going to reform the VA so that it's actually taking care of our veterans, giving them the timely care and benefits that they deserve?
The how, not just the VA stinks.
We hear a lot of people saying, thank you, veterans, for your service, and we need to do more for veterans. But if you're asking to be our commander-in-chief, we want to know details from you on how you're going to fix the system that's been broken for far too long. We want to know how you will fix the waste and abuse and fraud that exists within the Department of Defense so that we can better use those resources to strengthen our military and to take care of our troops who are still actively serving. And last but not least, we want to know how you as Commander-in-Chief are going to stop sending our men and women in uniform into unnecessary, counterproductive wars of choice, as we've seen in the past, as we are seeing play out now in Libya. We saw in 2011 the U.S. went and overthrew Gaddafi, and now today the administration is looking at how they can take U.S. military action to go against the ISIS, Al-Qaeda, other Islamic extremist groups who are stronger there as a result of our U.S. policy. And the very same thing is playing out in Syria today.
There's certainly plenty on the table. Trump didn't go to the debate last night. He says he didn't go because he had to stand up for his rights to be treated fairly. Do you buy that as a good rationale for not going to the debate?
The political punditry will talk about whether what Trump did is right or wrong or whatever. If we want to talk about standing up for rights, again, I would point back to, let's talk about in detail veterans' rights, what they deserve, what they have earned through their service and sacrifice, and not get onto any of these political high horses. Let's get down to the substance here. We're several months away from November, and the American people deserve to know exactly what each of these candidates plans to do if they take that Oval Office in January of next year.
And the groups have been clear. They're not just coming at Trump. I mean, if nothing else, he was the guy raising money last night. But that all these candidates,
yes,
that there's a lot to be done past that lip service of we all love the troops. Easy to say. How do you prove it?
Exactly.
Okay, so what are you doing in New York? This is not Hawaii last time I checked. What brings you here?
It's a little colder here than what I left Hawaii a couple of days ago. Absolutely warm hearts. I'm here this morning to participate in an American Justice Summit to really bring light and have some in-depth conversations about the issue of criminal justice reform. This was something that President Obama mentioned within the first few minutes of his State of the Union speech. It's something that we've heard our Republican Speaker Paul Ryan talk about. And so this is one of those rare issues that's long overdue for reform, but rare issues where we're seeing strong bipartisan support from some of the most liberal political leaders to some of the most conservative political leaders saying we've got to take action on this and we've got to take action on it now.
What is the this? Give me 2 or 3 things you think have to change yesterday.
Well, I'll tell you about someone who I brought as my guest to the State of the Union because her story really illustrates one of the major things that needs to change with these mandatory minimums. Her name is Kemba Smith. She was sent to prison, given a 24-and-a-half-year-long sentence for being a first-time nonviolent drug offender. She was dating a guy who was a drug dealer. No possibility of parole, no possibility of early release. She was eventually given clemency by President Clinton at the time, and has spent her life since trying to advocate for mentoring youth, keeping them from making bad decisions, but also looking at this criminal justice reform that's so necessary, where you've got these very, very overly harsh penalties
Sounds
for people
good on
like
the stump,
Kemba.
but doesn't always get thought out. That's a big issue. Let us
It's
know how
huge.
that goes. We also know that Congresswoman Gabbard is one of those leading the fight to take a second look at what the U.S. is doing in Syria. Is that a legal military incursion there? What's the right thing to do? We're tracking both of those.
Thanks, Chris. Good to see
Pleasure.
you.
Good to have you here.